Sam and Max. I'm not really too familiar with these characters before watching the show. I have had a friend, obviously the guy who I'm doing this video for, tell me about these characters, and I've seen some gameplay footage and some comic strips, like, out of context, but I hadn't learned much about these characters. But for the Christmas season, I decided to give my friends some presents, and this review is going to be one of them. So this is my thoughts on Sam and Max Freelance Police, the cartoon that aired on Fox Kids during 1997. From my experience watching Sam and Max, I would say I had a pretty good time for someone who has no knowledge of these characters. I found the show really funny and super entertaining. The show is primarily about Sam and Max getting a crime, solving it, and doing funny hijinks in between. Simple premise for sure, but the show is very funny to make up for that. It's also animated super well too. I really like the stylized look of the human characters, and I like the backgrounds featured within. I also should state that I know that the games and comics are a lot edgier compared to the show, and while I definitely do think it could be a lot funnier in that instance, I didn't mind any of the jokes here, especially some of the workaround jokes. I actually think they did a very good job trying to work around the limitations. Something I was also surprised about was how Sam wasn't as much of a straight man character as I thought he would be. I don't know, just judging by pictures and a few of like the out of context game clips my friend just showed me, I always thought he'd be much more of a straight man, but in many instances he can just be as wild as Max. I also wanted to highlight how much I really enjoyed the two's friendship. The two have such a great understanding of each other. We get so many great lines from their partnership, and I just couldn't help but love it. I quickly wanted to talk about my favorite and least favorite episodes of the show. I want to start with my least favorite because I actually do quite like this show. For my least favorite episode, I'd probably have to pick episode 11B, Little Bigfoot. Not necessarily horrible, but I kind of found it pretty boring, and I didn't really find any of the Bigfoot stuff all that interesting. It just kind of happened. My favorite episode of the show, I'd say I.E. a Robot. I really liked how Sam and Max loved this robot, and I loved all like the little fights and comedy in this episode. This was just an entertaining time for me. Despite me not falling in love with the show, I did quite enjoy myself, and it's definitely a show I think I'll watch again in the near future. I really liked it, and if you have never seen the Sam and Max show, I would recommend watching it. It's all on YouTube. Thank you all for watching this video. I hope you liked my little thoughts on Sam and Max Freelance Police. And tomorrow, keep your eyes peeled as a review is coming out for One Real Chad. See you guys next time.